I hate to start the video so abruptly, but here's NS's 154, daily manifest traffic from Birmingham's Norris Yard to Spencer Yard in Linwood, North Carolina. It's abrupt because I wasn't expecting him, no less arriving within the first 5 minutes of us being there. My day actually started almost 3 hours earlier, though, when I left home, following the CSX Abbeville subdivision east to Athens, then running north along the Gainesville Midland subdivision. The Gainesville Midland is a unique name. That's because the subdivision's named after the Gainesville Midland, a short line railroad between namesake Gainesville and its terminus in Athens with branch lines to Winder, Monroe, and various other places that I'm probably not aware of. This is its main line. It's always been in standard gauge. At one point, the Gainesville Midland probably had several sidings along its main line, but nowadays it only has one, and it's no more than 2,600 feet. Not nearly long enough for the giants of precision scheduled railroading. But that's okay. The Gainesville Midland subdivision isn't actually a main line. It's a branch line that extends from the aforementioned Abbeville subdivision, which is a main line, and the Norfolk Southern's Greenville District, also a main line, with 3 times the Abbeville's action. I didn't record the trip up there, but it's about 2 hours going from Winder to Athens to Gainesville. I spent 3 hours taking off-roads to follow the line as closely as I could. There's a good reason behind this, though. The CSXT 1834, a heritage unit sporting the Georgia Railroad's paint scheme, is hiding out somewhere along this line. Currently, I've caught 5 heritage units. This will be my 6th. Anyhow, as there's no footage other than 154, it's a no-brainer to conclude I did not catch this heritage unit. But I did get a very scenic drive through rural Georgia, the tight curves, the steep grades, and the mountains in the background. Skipping back ahead to Gainesville, the next thing on our chart is this trackmobile, working the Pilgrim's Pride plant. You can't smell it, but the scent of chicken feed was all that I could smell. I smell like chicken feed, bro. The next actual train on our agenda today was this pair of locomotives. I admit I did see them coming into Gainesville, but I didn't think much of them. Their headlights were off and I didn't hear their engines running. But now, here they were, putting together a string of empty hoppers. Now, I'd been waiting for 282, a daily intermodal between Atlanta and Charlotte, but this green train literally finished working the plant and departed literally seconds before anything came down the Norfolk Southern. And sure enough, there's the horn of train 27A, daily hotshot intermodal between Harrisburg, Pennsylvania and Atlanta, Georgia. He's right on time today. After that, I got word of 153, daily mixed freight originating from Spencer Yard in Linwood, North Carolina, and terminating in Birmingham at Norris Yard. In other words, the direct counterpart of 154. Now, under normal circumstances, I would stay behind and wait for this awesome meet planned between 153 and 282, but today was not typical because I did not tell you about me touring the Gainesville Midland for nothing. I am following that grain train. It only took me a few minutes to locate our grain train, and in case I didn't introduce it before, this is G909, an as-needed empty grain train running between Pilgrim's Pride and Gainesville to Athens. Why it doesn't just run all the way up to Evansville to get sorted out is beyond me. But it was the only train on the entire Gainesville Midland, and desperate for some rural train catches, I beat it to Belmont. This is a very nice spot at the corner of Mountain Creek Church Road and Midland Road, right by a wedding venue called Barnes South. I got here with 15 minutes to spare. There will be 2 more stops in Pendergrass and Arcade, but I'm going to leave the rest of this footage without auditory narration until the end of the chase. Now, I probably could have followed G909 south into Athens, and I probably would have made it to set up for the train to pass by these silos, but I got word on where exactly the Georgia Railroad Heritage Unit, the reason for this excursion, was. If I went into Athens, I might as well have just gone home. But since I wasn't farther than 10 miles from this Heritage Unit, I opted to see it instead. And where was it? Of course, the one spot I didn't check, Pendergrass Siding, was where it was. I opted not to go there initially since it looked like it was just a bunch of quarries without any customers, but guess what? There was a customer. I was just blind. But it didn't matter. I finally knew where it was, and it was inactive. It was clearly on a local, but it was tied up on the main. Since G909 was long gone and the engines weren't running, I think it's safe to assume we will not be seeing this locomotive run. And oh well, it's not like it was leading either. Now I know the ending was rather gloomy, but I actually really enjoyed this trip. The scenic mountains I didn't know existed between Athens and Gainesville are just incredible. You get some amazing views out there in the country. And in terms of the railroad, 3 trains and a stop local with the Heritage Unit are plenty to satisfy me.